Hey, everybody, welcome back to this episode of Think Business Live. Looking forward to talking with Lisa and Deevo. Lisa and Deevo, it's great to connect with you. I'm excited to talk about this topic. You both are with Sprout Connectors. And what I love about what we're going to talk about today is content. And to me, content is king. You are in the marketing and branding and social field, but also can create content for people, which I think is the biggest pain point for many people. They know they need to be on social. They want to be on social. They know they need to grow their brand, their marketing, yet they have a really hard time building content. So let's start there for all the people who are listening and saying, wow, this is amazing. You know, how do you go in and actually build content for people?
Hey, John, thanks for having us on. Lisa,
Yeah.
you want to take that first answer? Or you want me to jump in?
Hop in. You're right. We're right in there already.
So I only have 20 minutes, so you're going to put me on a timer here. But we take a holistic and subjective and objective approach to content. So because we formerly both operated for years in the artistic realm of things, wedding photography, creative photography, that sort of stuff, portraits, humans, working with humans, not only did we learn a lot of characteristics of how to do that on a sort of like tactical level, but intrinsically, as we connected with people, it sort of morphed into what we do. We call ourselves visual intuitives because we both have a really intuitive ability to connect with people to sort of draw out their superpowers. And the approach we take to content is doing a brand discovery audit at the outset so that we can understand your DNA. It's your ethos. What makes you, John, a business owner? And why are you here? What's your purpose? What's your business objectives, et cetera? And we dive into all that so that we can speak, walk, and talk everything that our clients do. It's sort of, we become part of the ethos. We become their partner. And our content piece follows that subjective and objective perspective of being, you know, the left brain and the right brain fusion and creating content. And then from the business perspective and the strategy perspective and the economic perspective, bridging those gaps between the two.
Yeah. Lisa, what are your thoughts?
I think both of us coming from being solopreneurs, entrepreneurs, we understand the struggle bus that most people are on when they're trying to create their own social media. They don't have a team. They don't have 5 people on staff. They're not Gary Vee that has 20 people doing all this stuff, filming them all the time and compiling all of that. So we understand that, but we also understand that we become part of the team. So what Deevo was saying is exactly bang on. Like, we start at the very beginning. Why are you doing this? What's your strategy? And we help develop that. And I think from that, our mindset is on point and they feel like they have another team that's working with them so they can do the things that they need to do. I think we're always struggling with all the other things we need to do, and actually trying to post something on your Instagram is usually last on the list.
Yeah. Let's talk about what content, you know, we're talking about Instagram here, but you know, just now you just mentioned Instagram, but you know, there's Instagram, there's every other social platform. You know, you have your website, LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter. I mean, the list goes on and on, you know, and so content, let's talk about what type of content works best on each platform. And then again, I kind of want to sprinkle in always how you then are helping people build that content.
So content in of itself, the paradigm itself doesn't change. At the crux of all content should be a central storyline of who you are as a business owner, or what your company believes in, or their purpose, or what value proposition you're solving. And if you can set about to create content that tells the story of that paradigm of your business or your brand, no matter where you're posting it, if you're doing TikTok dances, if you're doing Instagram reels, or if you're going live on Facebook, the delivery method changes. Your audience is different, so how you portray it is different, but at the core of it, it's still telling your story, your brand's value. What's your brand message, so that people can hear it and see it and visually and auditorily see some part of themselves in whatever it is you're talking about. And that's what makes that connection between people.
Yeah. But do you guys help them write blogs? Do you help them do the video? Do you help them write scripts? Do you have, you know, to me, one of the things I do, especially when I'm doing some tips, is I will bulk and do 100 tips that last me a year in a 3-hour period. And if I'm doing some video tips, and so just kind of walk people through that once you kind of take on a client or have them on retainer, because I think that's where I think people get stuck the most.
I think from what
Saying,
Deevo was saying as well, and what you're doing, you're batching things. Well, we, on the other hand, will batch, but it starts out at the beginning where we figure out what that brand voice is, and it gets to the point where we'll have weekly meetings with our clients, but we're able to grasp what they're saying, who they're speaking to, who their audience is, what they're trying to portray, and we get their voice. So they're able to be more hands off. So I think that is really important in the first place, that we really understand and we really connect and we understand who they're connecting with. And if they're telling the same story and over again, people are going to get bored. So we find different ways for them to reach out and to connect with people as well, who their clients are, who their ideal avatars are.
Yeah, let's talk about avatars and getting bored, because I think sometimes consistency is good, continuity is good, but there needs to be different flavors, even sometimes of the same thing. And so what's the formula for that?
You asked at the outset in the previous question, what was that connection point between the client and us and how we go about setting that out? I was thinking about that a couple of days ago. We sort of become the client's consigliere, to a Godfather reference. We're on speed dial with all of our clients. Yesterday we did a launch for a really high-end doctor who is like, I must have had 600 different text message exchanges from her asking this, giving her a piece on this, do all these pre-launches. And so our perspective is no different than creating great photography. It's a relationship we build with you, getting to understand who you are and your subtleties and nuances. And then we take that and transpose it with our artistic and subjectivity and how we create something. And in terms of, so I think that answered that.
I think as well, getting a different point of view. I think, and we've talked about this, Deevo and I've talked about this before, like we're working with amazing people that are doing incredible things, but they think that's just normal because it's so easy for them, or they've been doing it so long. They don't understand the value that they have of maybe doing some behind the scenes, maybe just getting up and talking and doing a couple of videos. And they're very uncomfortable with doing that. But the more that we kind of tutor them and help them and point out things that are really strategically important for them and other people want to hear.
Yeah.
That's having that second opinion. It's like having that best friend that kind of lifts you up and says, you know what, you're doing this and it's great.
Yeah.
That's kind of what we're doing.
You bring up a really good point. I think a lot of times when people don't, because something comes so naturally to someone, they don't realize it is a gift, and then that they can utilize that gift in different ways and share it and really inspire a lot of people. How do you get people to recognize that what comes easily to them is a gift that they can grow and actually monetize?
I think it starts at the outset of the relationship. When the branding audit, it's more of it's almost a cathartic exercise for both of us. When we're exposing their brand by reading their label from outside their own jar and then sharing our perspectives and insights on with them, they uncover different aspects of their own superpowers they hadn't even thought of before. And then when we photograph them or create video of them, it's very strategic and purposeful in terms of highlighting the strengths and the value that they bring to the world. And when you continue to engage in somebody, it's no different than you as a business coach, right? You're counseling your clients to figure things out strategically, objectively, subjectively. How do I grow into this different level of my business, et cetera? Our process is not terribly different than that. It's showing them the things that they're really good at, meeting them where they are, and then helping them expand upon those different areas.
And I think continually analyzing that as we do in our own businesses, stepping back and saying what's working, what's not working, how can we improve on that?
Yeah. Let's talk about, you are both photographers. And visually, I think, photography, I'm sure you two would be the first to say how important it is, and so let's just talk about, a picture's worth 1,000 words, right? How do people choose, the type of photographs that they use and the importance of that, especially when it comes to Instagram, which is more photo based, or, adding a picture to a blog? Like, how do you marry kind of the two, and how should people be thinking about it?
I think people should be thinking about the idea of documenting. If they're going to use social media for promoting their business or their personal or their social media influence status, whatever it is they're trying to become, think about it from the perspective of how can you create document content that tells the story of what you're doing, and not necessarily think of it in a one dimensional, like I took it today, so therefore I have to post it. There are different ways that you can repurpose your content. And if you start building a library of assets, whether it's you in your personal life, whether it's you and the struggles you face with your business, whether it's showcasing products, whether it's doing behind the scenes, all of those things can be represented and repackaged in a different perspective, offering a different contextual point of view based upon whatever it is the message you're trying to share. But you have to be clear on that I have to point this out. Before you create content, before you document anything, you need to take a step back and understand your purpose. Why is it you're planning on showing up? What's your brand messaging going to sound like? Because otherwise you're just throwing darts at something and you're never going to really have any sticky activity going on.
Yeah, let's talk about that for a second, Deevo, because I think a lot of times companies, as a business coach, I work with solopreneurs to Fortune 500, 100 companies, everything in between. A lot of people don't have clear messaging. And so they think they do, but they really don't. And I think today attention spans are less than a goldfish, and you need to get somebody's attention really quickly. And so could talk a little bit, if both of you could, about the power of messaging and the time it takes to get to something clear and concise.
You're exactly right when you're saying you've got a fraction of a second. And I think along with that, when we're working with our clients, it's a whole shift. It's a mind shift for them. They don't realize the importance of what they're doing, like we talked about. If they're doing a keynote and it's coming up, let's bank on that. Let's get some content around that. Let's provide assets so that you're not missing it. There's so many times they're like, oh, we just did something really great and we've totally missed out on that. So a lot of it is a mind shift change. A lot of it is promoting videos, getting that connection, the speaking to whoever you're speaking to on your platforms. I think that's a huge thing in any of our different social media platforms right now.
Yeah.
I would think really, I love what Lisa said, and earlier what you said as well, John. I think honing in on your messaging is no different than honing in on the purpose of why you started your business in the first place. So you need to really understand what that value proposition is. What problem are you solving for your client or for your buyer? And how are you doing it perhaps uniquely different than the 600,000 people who are also doing the exact same thing? Like, what makes you as a business coach be more effective than me if I'm a business coach? Well, it's not necessarily a question what's more effective. It's who can you connect with your message. And right. I might find your candor, and I might find that you're very casual, and I might find that you're very pragmatic. And I love the fact that I can sit and have really deep conversations with you. And then when I sit and think about who I would want to hire as a business coach, I think about those are the pieces. So right. Understanding your personal messaging, what is that, and how can you share that with people in a different, multifaceted, multi-hyphenated way? Yeah.
I agree. I agree with what you're saying. And I think, to the person who's listening right now, who can't hear what you're saying, right? Because it's not as concrete as sometimes people like to hear things, right? How do you guide that person to raise their awareness and their level of consciousness when it comes to getting to the bedrock of their DNA that's layered into their messaging, right? Because it can be a vulnerable place for many, and it can be a vulnerable place for many companies. And so how do you evolve your prospects and clients to get there?
You want to answer, or you want me to hit it?
Oh, go ahead.
I think it first begins with the trust of being able to work with us and understanding that this is not just sort of a one and done situation. So that's why we become a long-term partner with you. But through the process of the brand audit, we've talked about a couple of times, we can't stress how critical that is, because that really hones in on your message, right, Lise? And then taking that brand message and creating structured content shoots that are centered around those pillars, the output of your message, and then letting them see this I played football in college, and we used to have one day that was completely dedicated to watching film. And man, you can never learn more about yourself than watching your errors on film right in front of you, 52 other dudes who are mocking at you and making fun of you because you've tripped and fell or something like that. And so when the clients see their content, and then we run back their video cuts with them and all the different things, and then this is not just one and done, like we're basically your production company. company and your branding company. And so not only have you started with the relationship, but now they're actually getting to watch their film, if you will. They start to sort of pick up on the things that really empower and make them a special person. And that's how we deliver that message.
Yeah.
And I think when you're talking about our branding guide that we start with, that was the thing that shifted everything in our business as well and gave us the start that we needed as well as our clients. And I think as we start working on things, people can kind of get lost in the mire. They're kind of go off that track. And it's almost like your branding guide becomes your vision board. It keeps bringing you back to who you are, why you're doing it, who you're speaking to, and all the other potential things that you can bring into that. And it's not to say that that doesn't change and that doesn't morph. And that's the reason why when we're working with clients, it's like such a learning process for them. There's a big learning curve, but minimum 6 months, because it doesn't start off with the first post and all of a sudden you see these changes. And that's what we run into a lot with a lot of our clients from the get-go. Before they even sign a contract, they want to know, what's my ROI on this?
Yeah.
How much growth am I going to have? What difference is this going to make? Where's the cash in this?
Yeah, I love that. What percentage of companies that you initially talk to have a branding guide and or even sometimes know what it is?
0 so far.
Yeah.
Or they have a different idea of what it is. They have a logo and they have some colors.
Yeah, talk about what it is, Lisa, if you can, so people can kind of get an understanding of it.
Like Deevo said, it's a long process that we go through with them, and there's so many different facets to it, but it ends up giving us the guide of all the different things that they can talk to their clients about, all the different pillars, all the strategy, and how they're going to show up, all the different mediums, and how they're going to show up on those as well. So not only does it kind of tell the story of who they are and what their strategy should be, it gives them the guideline and the pathway to do it as well.
Yeah, I love it.
I actually wrote a blog on this yesterday, John. So a lot of times what we find early on, and most small business owners that you talk to, right, they're all about these KPIs, these measurable data, these impressions, my engagement rate, how many new followers did I get? And one of the things that we have to do early at the outset of that is enable them to understand that this is the long game. Social media takes time to build up rapport and trust with your clients, first of all. So get in love with the process. But secondly, those metrics are often based upon infallible characteristics of data because they haven't taken the time at the outset to better understand their brand message. So they're theoretically potentially talking to the wrong people. So the numbers that they're measuring may not actually have any validity to them because they're based on the wrong complete messaging that they've actually never taken the time to exercise with. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
So
totally.
Start with the messaging, get that clear, and then you can move into data crunching.
Yeah, I love it. Lisa, Deevo, tell everybody who your ideal clients are and how they can connect with you.
Our ideal clients are those that need the help and the assistance. They want a team member. And it's not just the two of us. We have a whole team that performs in different categories. So our ideal client is someone that can connect with us. We connect with them. We believe in their business. They're doing something great. They have a superpower, and we're really excited to help them share that superpower. It's
great. Deevo, anything to add?
I would add people who are relatively conscientious about what they're trying to accomplish. I don't think that my ideal client is somebody who just wants to make millions of dollars. I understand the value of making millions of dollars. You need those resources, but what is at the core of why you operated your business in the first time? And if you clearly understand that, then for me personally, that just makes you a better business owner in general, and that compounds over time in all sorts of different facets.
Can we just say as well, that's part of the branding strategy that we do. We kind of figure out if we really want to connect with these people because we're basically in bed with them all day, every day.
Yeah.
For months.
Yeah. Yeah, I love it. Phone number, email, website.
I'll take that, Deevo.
Yeah, it's sproutconnectors.com. That's plural, Sprout Connectors. And you can find us on the same handle on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, etc. Phone numbers, if you can just probably go through social media. It's probably easiest. DM us. We always respond.
Well, guys, I appreciate you being on the show. There's nothing more important than content and consistent content. I love how you talk about, doing it for a minimum of 6 months and, the intuitive nature that you bring to the business, because I think, a lot of things are hidden as in plain sight, and you need somebody to kind of tap and really get into the undercurrent of what someone's DNA is, and then bring it to life and then showcase it. And for all of you in the Think community who have a hard time, know that you need to be doing this, but have a hard time building content, Deevo and Lisa may be able to help you. So reach out. And I appreciate both of you taking time to be on the show today. Thanks so much. And the community, thanks a lot. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Deevo. Thanks, Lisa.
Thank you.
Thanks, John.